Hey, what's up guys? Today, I am going to recap first two episodes of 2024 historical drama limited series titled Shogun. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and make sure to hit the bell icon for updates. Spoilers ahead, and I hope you enjoy the recap. Episode 1 opens with a creaky ship emerging from the fog like a ghost, and one of its passengers is that English sailor John Blackthorne, who is piloting an English crew through the Magellan Pass in search of the Japanese shore. The Erasmus set sail with a host of other ships, but only they remain. The crew is dwindling with only about dozen bodies left. Its captain has lost all hope. He commits suicide, choosing a death of his own choice. The rest face a bleak fate as starvation and other diseases await them. Sure enough, his ship soon crash lands on a rocky shore in Japan. A crew of Japanese samurais heads aboard to investigate. They find all the sailors starved and nearly unconscious and take them hostage. They also confiscate the ship and await their lord's arrival. Elsewhere in Osaka, Lord Yashi Toranaga arrives at the palace with his pupil. Toranaga meets with the other four lords, but he doesn't receive a friendly welcome. They're concerned he's consolidating power against them. Lord Ishida, who is currently leading the scheming against Toranaga, explains that Uchiyo's mother, Lady Achiba, accused him of holding the heir's mother hostage. Toranaga explains that his daughter-in-law is in labor. Achiba is her sister and hence, on account of the impending birth, is visiting the castle. The council is unconvinced. They give Toranaga 7 days to return the heir's mother, or they will vote to impeach him. One of Toranaga's loyal henchmen, Tadayashi, stands up and objects to the flimsy accusations against his lord, but when Toranaga orders him to stand down, Tadayashi apologizes and asks for permission to commit seppuku, or ritual suicide, to end his family line. Toranaga's second-in-command, Toda Hiramatsu, advises him that if they return the heir's mother, they'll all be killed, so Toranaga decides to stall for time, sending Hiramatsu back home to Ajiro to check in on the shipwreck. We learn the full scale of Tadayashi's punishment. His infant son will be killed too, and his wife Lady Fuji threatens to take her own life rather than hand over her baby. However, Mariko, Hiramatsu's daughter-in-law, intervenes and pulls a knife out of Lady Fuji's hand. She encourages her to find purpose in life, as Mariko herself did after her father died. Back in the ship, Blackthorne convinces his men that they have ended up in Japan. He is also confident that until the rudders with his private diary and royal decree are kept hidden in the captain's quarters, no one will know their identities. They will pretend to be English merchants who have lost their way. The Japanese soldiers along with Omi informed Blackthorne that Lord Yabushige has ordered him and his crew to leave the boat. A scuffle erupts between them, so Blackthorne comes up alone to speak for his men. He explains that they are merchants and he requests to be released to the safety of their ship. Omi gets a priest to translate what Blackthorne says. The latter asks for his men to be freed, but the priest replies that it's not possible, prompting Blackthorne to disrespect them. He gets beaten for it and pissed on. Blackthorne is brought before Yabushige, with a Portuguese priest brought in to translate. Blackthorne doesn't trust a priest, and indeed, the priest claims he's an evil pirate with murder on his mind. Priest recognizes John's nationality and requests Yabushige to have him executed. Blackthorne rips off the priest's cross necklace and screams that he's not one of them and stomps on the cross. Yabushige decides to spare him, although he condemns another of Blackthorne's men to die by being boiled to death. Japanese attendants trim Blackthorne's wild hair and beard, and Yabushige enjoys the company of a courtesan, watching as she gets intimate with one of his henchmen. Back at Osaka Castle, Lady Iyo encourages Toranaga to step up and channel his bloodline's warrior spirit. She calls for him to embrace his destiny with the title of Shogun. She knows Uchiyo's life is in danger, and it is up to Toranaga to protect him. Hiramatsu arrives on the island and informs Yabushige that everything found on Blackthorne's ship belongs to Toranaga now. Reluctant at first, Yabushige agrees to give them the ship and goods. But he looks at Omi, saying he knows everything, meaning a spy was in his village. Hiramatsu announces he plans to take Blackthorne back to Osaka to meet Toranaga. As the cargo is being taken back, Blackthorne's paths cross with that of Carlos Rodriguez, a Spanish pilot working for the Portuguese. However, en route, the ship runs into a storm. Blackthorne's skills and determination come in handy as they navigate it well enough. But Rodriguez is thrown overboard. When they reach calmer waters, he pleads with Yabushige and his men to save Rodriguez. They agree as the Spaniard is a skilled pilot. He is found at the bottom of a cliff by the rocks. Although Blackthorne wants to go himself to save Rodriguez, Yabushige stops him. In a clever ploy, he challenges the lord in front of his men, and Yabushige has no option but to accept. Yabushige is badly injured in the ensuing climb down. He manages to save Rodriguez, but then he falls into the water himself and gets pulled under the tide. Yabushige draws his sword, prepared to end his life on his own terms, but a rope drops down just in time to pull him to safety. An impressed Blackthorne bows before Yabushige, and they make their way to Osaka. Toranaga prepares Mariko for Blackthorne's arrival since she speaks fluent Portuguese. He trusts her and needs reliable people in these tumultuous times. He believes that the Anjin can turn the tide in this tussle for power. When he regains consciousness, Rodriguez reveals that he has found Blackthorne's private diaries and the rudder he stole from a Spanish sailor. As soon as they hit the shore, he will give up John's secret to the Portuguese. The episode ends with Tadayoshi and his baby son are put to death, while Blackthorne is brought before Toranaga and Mariko. We begin the second episode 1 year ago in Osaka. As Taiko lays in a deathbed, all the powerful warlords have gathered to pay their respects to the man who united Japan. The Taiten says his goodbyes to his young son, Uchiyo, as Uchiyo's cunning mother, Achiba, eyes the vultures surrounding her husband's deathbed. Taiko sent everyone away except Toranaga. The two talk about cherished memories before Taiko asks him his thoughts on becoming sole regent until his son is grown. Toranaga worries that would give his enemies a reason to unite. Taiten explains his plans to form a Council of Regents. He has selected 5 rival warlords, including Toranaga, who will rule together until Uchiyo comes of age. Back in present-day Osaka, the leader of the Jesuit mission, Father Delacqua, considers the threat Blackthorne poses to the Catholics in Japan. Blackthorne's journals contain proof of piracy, enough to warrant his death, but Father Martin, the young translator, warns that if they expose Blackthorne's crimes to the Japanese, their own secrets may be revealed. The priests decide to hold on to their secrets, and Martin journeys to the castle to translate for Blackthorne. When he arrives at the court, we learn that Mariko is a former pupil of his. Although she isn't translating, Toranaga wants her by his side to ensure that Martin is doing a faithful job. To his credit, Martin translates truthfully. Even though Blackthorne feared he wouldn't. In a stylishly put-together montage of Toranaga and Blackthorne's conversation, the Anjin explains that he is from England. He also lays out the religious conflicts between the Protestants and Catholics vis-à-vis the war between England and Portugal. Toranaga is impressed by Blackthorne's sincerity and feisty personality. However, before they can proceed further, Ishida joins the court. Ishido expresses his frustration that he invited him to the castle. Furthermore, he says he doesn't understand why he was wasting time on Blackthorne so close to Toranaga's impeachment. To keep the peace, Toranaga sends Blackthorne to their prison. In a meeting with his inner circle later that night, we learn about his plan. Kiyama and Ono, the Christian regents, owe their fidelity to the Portuguese. Blackthorne's presence in Osaka is a dagger through their hearts. Before they can vote in unison against Toranaga, the regents will demand that John be executed. This will divide the regents and protect Toranaga. At the jail, Blackthorne meets a father who says the Jesuits put him there. He tells Blackthorne that Toranaga is a prisoner in Osaka Castle. The others will vote on Toranaga's demise any day now. The council gathers to vote on Toranaga's impeachment. Before they vote, they bring up Blackthorne, and Ishido speaks about how he has protested his being there, resulting in his imprisonment. However, the council suggests that it wasn't enough because of the horror stories they've heard about Blackthorne massacring Christians. Before they vote, they demand that he be executed. Ishido pushes them to vote, but the others refuse. Meanwhile, Ferreira, the ornery captain of the Portuguese trading vessel, the Black Ship, asks Alvido to appeal to Toranaga for their departure papers. Alvido knows Toranaga cannot be rushed and leaves to meet with Mariko. The two are old friends, and Alvido counsels Mariko on her dark thoughts. Ishida visits Yabushige outside the castle. The regent was Yabushige's former general in war, and the two men share a meaningful camaraderie. This encourages the latter to speak more freely. He brings up the possibility of the church and Christian regents taking over once Toranaga is gone. Ishida would then be isolated and on the same footing as his rival. However, having Blackthorne's weaponry and his loyalty could help him. When Ishida reveals that he has already signed the execution order, Yabushige comes up with a plot to save Blackthorne. In prison, Blackthorne learns about the Black Ship and a secret Portuguese base filled with Japanese Ronin. Before Blackthorne can use this information, Kiyama's men collect him for execution. Just when it seems like Blackthorne's luck has run out, Yabushige stages a bandit attack and appears to rescue him. With Blackthorne in hand, Yabashij returns to Toranaga, maintaining the appearance of loyalty despite his secret deal with Ishido. Toranaga brings Lady Mariko instead of the priest to translate this time around. He begins questioning his knowledge about his culture and how he came to Japan. Blackthorne shares that he traveled here and avoided a Portuguese base in Macau, which shocks everyone. He said a secret base for gun running contains Ronin at this location. Toranaga explains he wants Blackthorne to show him where all the Portuguese bases are located. He believed that the Portuguese and Spain had split up the land and that Japan belonged to the Portuguese. Furthermore, they want to replace all non-Christian leaders with their own. Because Blackthorne unpacked so much, Toranaga refuses to sign the papers to let the Black Ship leave until they investigate these bases. The priest sends word back to his team, who aren't happy. In the middle of the night, a female assassin wreaks havoc as Toranaga's samurai are slow to react. Toranaga is smarter to the situation and tactfully kills her, but not before John tries to intervene and save his life. Toranaga reveals that the maid came to kill John and not him, making him an even more important pawn in this political game. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments if you want us to continue with this series in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and make sure to hit the bell icon for updates.